What's good? What's good? What's good? What's so good? What's really good, y'all? It's me. It's me, a girl, the talking time. Y'all already know. Y'all already know what to do. Period. Today we're gonna be talking about some things. A few things. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes indeed. So there's a lot of things going on with this TikTok thing. I don't know about y'all, but I noticed that it's becoming a pattern. But we got something to talk
African
about.
Americans are officially independent, and they have a major national treaty with 80 countries to back it up legally. The treaty's called the Declaration of the Global African Diaspora Summit, and it gives African Americans regional government powers as Region 6 of the African Union. This region contains 350 million people in 90 different countries, and African Americans are identified as the strongest in the entire region. African Americans are officially a new world power government on the same level as all other world governments, just not as organized yet. Regardless, this regional government title means martial law, forced vaccinations, and other executive orders from the U.S. government will not apply to black people in America. It also means law enforcement officers are no longer authorized to police black people. The mass media hid this major treaty away from African Americans for almost a decade because they didn't want them to find out how much economic power they now have as a new regional government of Africa. But the secret is out, and this new strategy for justice is called Diplomat Day. Diplomat Day provides coordinated execution between high levels and ground levels to eventually eradicate racism. The ground level is simple for the masses. Just publicly display the African Union flag in large or creative coordinated efforts. African Americans publicly displaying their flag in large numbers has legal benefits now because it is a lawful statement of regional jurisdiction, and that's what Diplomat Days are about. Diplomat Days began at a rally point with music, food, and guest speakers to commemorate the new regional government status of African Americans from the African Union. Everyone brings African Union flags to the rally. Those of voting age votes to declare state of emergency due to racism and dehumanization in America. At the end of the rally, everyone leaves together to cruise the city with their flags displayed on their cars or with a passenger displaying a flag out from the car windows in a large group until they stop at a government building for a huge photo shoot with their flags. This sends a clear message to the United States that the African Union's regional government in America is an active and visible neighbor, which promotes respect for their jurisdictional distinction, equality, and relations. Visit diplomatday.com for more information or to organize a rally in your state. diplomatday.com.
What's good? I was just tearing up some pineapple. Y'all already know. Y'all already know what it do. And of course, we in the cut. We in the cut because we don't want the haters to come up in here and try to penetrate with their funky ass vibrations. You know how them nasty mofos be. They nasty coming up, trying to stop something. Why? Because you don't like the lyrics that come out my mouth. And oh my goodness. Can you imagine? There's a few of them monsters running around. A few of them monsters running around. Well, I mean, today we're going to be talking about some things. Okay? Yes. Now, for the record, there's some things taking place. third stimulus check, how soon might you receive your $1,400, right? How soon? Let's talk about that. 8 minutes ago, they playing. They playing because I'm finna show you something. What Biden trying to do. Okay? Let me show y'all. This fool. This stupid fool. Look at him, though. Biden clarifies that stimulus checks are just an idea. What? Then you got this other crazy ass monster. Talk about something. If he run for 2024, will you vote for him? No. Get the fuck on. He gonna drive the black community. He said he promising people checks. 2001 checks if you vote for him. This motherfucker crazy. I just peeped that shit earlier too. Now I got it somewhere over here. Okay, let me do one thing at a time. In the meantime and in between time.
Ancestral noise out there. One more time for everybody that has died at the hands of law enforcement or died unjustly and hasn't gotten justice yet. For all the families that's out here and for somebody that knows it could be you next. Power! Some ancestral noise out here, DC. Ancestral noise out here, DC.
Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Make some ancestral noise!
Y'all already know. I'm back. The stimulus checks. See, they're just an idea. He said, shrugging off claims that the stimulus checks were supposed to be actual checks sent to Americans. Because that's what they used to doing. They used to doing foundations and shit like that, you know. Taking all this money, trying to transfer all this money, and then motherfuckers wonder why shit is crashing all over the place. Because that's what they doing. They reversing all these executive orders, getting all this fucking money, all this fucking little playbook shit. Yeah, I know. And shit like that. But see, as they playing, they being exposed. Don't worry. It really is what it is.
Next point.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, we'll be proud that you're thinking. That's for sure. Now I'm gonna play a small clip. I want your take on this because for this to be done by the scientific community, which is mainly, and I'm going to ask you a few questions about it because you mentioned Hebrew, and most of you know my background, YHWH, Yuhei, Wavhe. Didn't find out to most of y'all that it was a high-level Masonic name based off the elements of the universe, earth, wind, fire, water, air. He said the tetragrammaton, which is the 4. Many of us don't get this teaching from our teachers sometime until after they're like incarcerated or gone, that you find a way. It's way more to what they've been telling us. But I never knew the scientific community was clouting this, y'all. And y'all maybe heard this before. Give me your thoughts on this, Brother Valentine, after this. It's only 1 minute.
Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World and brother of Julian Huxley, gave a speech at Berkeley in 1962, shortly before his death. He admitted that his best-selling book, Brave New World, written in 1932, was based not on fiction, but on what the elite were actually planning to implement.
And here I would like briefly to compare the parable of Brave New World with another parable which was put forth more recently in George Orwell's book 1984. I'm inclined to think that the scientific dictatorships of the future, and I think there are going to be scientific dictatorships in many parts of the world, will be probably a good deal nearer to the Brave New World pattern than to the 1984 pattern. They will be a good deal nearer, not because of any humanitarian qualms in the scientific dictators, but simply because the Brave New World pattern is probably a good deal more efficient than the other. But if you can get people to consent to the state of affairs in which they are living, the state of servitude, the state of being, well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy, who have always existed and presumably always will exist, to get people actually to love their servitude. People can be made to enjoy a state of affairs which, by any decent standard, they ought not to enjoy. And these methods, I think, are a real refinement on the older methods of terror, because they combine methods of terror with methods of acceptance. But then there are various other methods which one can think of. There is, for example, the pharmacological method. This was one of the things I talked about in Brave New World. And the result would be that, you can imagine a euphoric which would make people thoroughly happy even in the most abominable circumstances. These things are possible.
Now, y'all heard it. Man said, in the most diabolical circumstance. Now, this sound, according to me, and I'm going to ask Dr. Valentine his comment on that. Psychology, under what I was given this book, Hitler, Germany, was very instrumental in the new age of psychology that we are dealing with this today. Most of you do not know. Just look up the Lucis Trust Foundation. You will see all of the prolific occult writers of many decades, including this one you just heard, Huxley, talk about doing this using science. And Obama, when he came into office, first thing he said is, we're going to put science in its rightful place. I, at the time, did not realize until I started looking up the words of what he was saying. Meaning, is this where science is going? And is artificial intelligence the new God? Go ahead, Dr. Phil.
Well, we know that there was a meeting. I don't remember where it took place, where George Orwell's book 1984 was discussed after he was assassinated. It had gone out there it became too popular a book. I remember I had to read it as a requisite while I was going to Catholic school. 1984, and the premise that 1984 took, and the fact that he leaked it before it actually took place, they began to say, well, we could not actually suppress the population that way by denying them knowledge and placing them into cubicles of activity, because essentially that would then, under that pressure, we would create some kind of messiah that could overthrow us. Instead, as he said, that the Brave New World scenario was taken on, and instead of denying knowledge to the people, we would flood them with information so copious, so overwhelming and overbearing, that they would know truth from lies. And that's essentially where we are today. And when he talked about science, the use of pharmacological means, we see that happening with the vaccinations. We see that happening with the drugs that they keep giving us, that they keep, coming back with mea culpa saying, oh, we didn't know that it would, destroy your liver. So, no, they know exactly what the hell they're doing. Right. What they're doing essentially is they're inebriating the population. And because, again, very good way of saying it, we are on a type of psycho-spiritual prison planet. And that our particular forging, this is the crucible that these souls that are participating in this particular hologram of existence, this is the crucible that you've chosen, or was chosen for you to go through the principles of processes of coming into a higher aspect of yourself. There is the descension of the fall. Now you're speaking about Yud-He-Wav-He. That lettering, again, I can still trace it. You could still trace it back further to the Hu, He, H-W-H-Y.
Right.
That was the Kemetic symbol at the point.
Yes.
Yes. So there was everything, and the thing is, remember, that was an unspeakable, when we spoke in consonants.
Yep.
We did not have any kind of vowels. The vowels are the way that you find how to pronounce the Tetragrammaton, which has 72 letters. But you can encapsulate that into the Yud-He-Wav-He-Y-H-V-H, and by the way to say it is not to say it. That's why nobody could say the word. You had to sing it. So what you had to do was to put the vowels in there. You put the Yud-He-Wav-He-Y-H-V-H, and in the beginning you put A-E-I-O-U. And then in between those four letters, you put A-E-I-O-U, and you will find out how they intoned Yud-He-Wav-He in the temples. So the word vowels itself, what is a vowel? The vowel itself is you deferring to something and promising to do something. And what are the last two letters? What is the last two letters to vowel?
I hear you say the last two letters of vowel.
Yeah, the last two letters to vowel.
E-L.
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 Yes. What is that? Where do you put the vowels? How do you put the vowels into the name of God? You put the vowels in there so that you can intone and put whatever it is in your heart into that particular energy to get what you want. And the other part that you have to understand is that they took your science and put it into the book of creations, which is the Sefer Yetzirah. In the Sefer Yetzirah, they have given you part of the formula for manifesting things. The same way that the Marianic sciences from over in India show you how to manipulate space-time. We have the sciences to do that, to get out of everything that we need to get out of. And all of the little pieces are being put together, which is why the so-called watchers or the overseers are becoming ever more brutal, ever more heroic in their efforts to destroy humanity or that consciousness. The Herod, I call it the Herod protocol, to kill off all the sons, to kill off all the children who may end up being. And the Herod protocol was taken over by the COINTELPRO.
Yeah, because you said something earlier, and I'm just going back from what you said. The L, many of our the elements, you know, the periodic table. It was a program I was able to have. It said that the periodic table was the gods. The elements were the gods that created us. So, you know, you got different aspects of that.
Yeah.
I was once taught about the Hebrew. Some say they don't exist. I'm just going to throw this out there because this is a big debate out there with that. And in the occult world where I was privileged to get into, it says that Hebrew only means one who passed over the first 3 degrees. So it seems to be a debate. Is these characters? Because a lot of people say these characters don't really exist per se as a real Solomon. You know, there's no real.
Well, you have to look at you have to look. What you have to do is you have to look at the distractions. Anything that they give to you, no, ain't real. Know that there is a science behind the science that they pretend to give, which is why they throw E equals MC squared to people and say this is what science is based on. That's bull. E equals MC squared is pathetic, and they always try to fit reality to that. But the reality is actually that anybody who plays around with that particular theoretical principle essentially goes into a wall that they could never traverse. But along comes Gabriel Oyibo and gives you G.I.J., J equals 0 to show you how to get over the wall. And now they downplay him, they vilify him, they try to throw him out, you know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that the science that you were saying, science is what it is they're going to use to maintain us, but the conscience is what we're dealing with. The consciousness, that's what you're dealing with.
Thank you, Brother Phil.
See what I'm saying?
I always said conscience. Y'all heard me say this a long time ago. He just sounded like that. I love you, man. This is called Mind Power 101, y'all. He is just saying what we need to hear every morning. All right, I'm going to take calls. I need you to be brief because there's a lot of you on the air. Please, go starting at the top to the bottom. 8848, you on the air.
Thank you, Dry Bones, and thank you, Dr. Phil Valentine, for being in the show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One thing that I wanted to express, and I love everything that you're saying. It's very educational. I wanted to let you know that I'm Cuban. I always have to bring this up.
Yes, you
do. Yeah. And,
go ahead.
You expressed in hidden colors in reference to the Haitians and the Haitians not being able to, coming to the, like you call it, the United Snakes, which pretty much, yes, it's true, and expressing how Cubans are able to come through here. And I wanted to let you know that the 1980 Mariel boat lift, expressed by Kathy Hawks, who has a book written in reference to the Mariel boat lift, because she was part of that.
I got you.
She expressed that the Mariel boat lift was nothing else than an experiment for what is to come, because the camps that were used to have the Cubans in those camps are still guarded by the military. And I just want to point this out, and I want you to know that if by any chance, I don't know if you, sympathize with, the dictatorship that there, Fidel Castro and his coon. I want you to know that this man is nothing more than a white supremacist, and he is with the snake because he's part of the CIA. So
we understand that. I'm not. No, my situation around Cuba was the fact that the ancient peoples there first were the ones who funded the so-called American Revolution when they ran out of money. They still owe the indigenous Cubans there $5 million in gold, which is compounded in interest to over $250 million in gold. The other thing is that I spoke mostly about Cuba being a center ring for sunken pyramids and very powerful part of where it leads from Florida going down into the West Indies, connecting with South America and over into the Bahamas, into Cuba. All there are sunken. That used to be part of Oceania, where you have pyramids, you have roads. They found all kinds of archaeological digs down there under, besides Cuba. So yeah, Cuba to me essentially is another segue into the knowledge that our peoples, who actually dotted the entire planet, because Cuba itself was the place where Drew Ali received his pacification of nationhood. And the entire territorial United States was given over to him, which right after that created the so-called crash of the monetary system. So, yes, I knew exactly what happened and what was going on around Cuba, and I'm definitely sympathetic with what you're seeing going on there, but that's just part of or a branch of white supremacy, or a branch of the control system called white supremacy.
Right, I agree with you. Thank you, sister, for calling. We know we love you. That's one of our Cuban correspondents, man. She's everywhere in the MIA, at every event. So we love you for that. 7950, you on the air. Make your comment.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to BPP on the show. Sir, I have a question for you. I had to detox myself off of Facebook because I found myself becoming a slave to it, and I was overusing it and abusing it. But on Facebook, there is a lot of consciousness on there. But my question to you is, it seems like to me that Facebook is becoming its own church, because I see a lot of posts that people put up, type like, say amen, and it be to money. It be to like a lot of idolizing things. And my question is, me being newly into consciousness, how can I fact check a lot of information that I receive?
Go ahead. Good question.
If you're dealing with consciousness and so forth, you have to remember there are a lot of what I call cut and paste scholars. And these cut and paste scholars are based upon what it is that brothers and sisters from the last 25, 50, 75 years had gone into libraries, had read books because we didn't have no internet back then. We were actually doing the legwork, the sweat work, and so forth, bringing this information out. But now, again, based on the protocols that we were speaking about earlier, the fact of the matter is that since the information was coming out in the underground, because that's where Bobby, myself, Dr. Delbert Blair, bless his soul, we were in the underground telling you exactly how it looked beyond the curtain where the wizard was playing his games. So instead we were actually synthesizing the truth for you to hear it. Now, in accordance with the Brave New World Protocol, they done flooded the market. They done made it legitimate through Facebook and through YouTube that anybody who has read maybe a couple of paragraphs in a few books can get up there as an authority and start speaking. So since they have put so many different aspects of the knowledge out there, so many different people will pick up on all of it, and there we have the same type of religious mentality, the Hebrew Israelites versus the Kemites, the so-called Hotep Negroes, they call them. They got the Christian versus the, whatever. That's the confusion. There is a kernel and a seed of truth. But the reality must first be found before you find the truth. And the reality is that you got to go in and you got to dig this information out. It's like gold. You got to get dirty. You got to go down. You can't just cut and paste or look at what it is that's online. You have to know to go where.
Okay, knowledge is power. But I don't know about y'all, but we in a crisis.
Take me to the place where there's no gravity.
The patch I have on the back? You have the finger here screeching, and then you have the Mr. Rogers. Oh, okay. Mr. Rogers.
I was just saying it for the Mr. Rogers one.
Okay.
That's funny.
I couldn't remember if I had Kill Call Me for Mommy or what on there. I have one that has Live Free No Masters and a burning cop car on it too.
Oh, God.
I'm going to roll with that one today.
Could I ask you to tell me so I'm still live streaming, but nobody's kind of talking, so I figured, do you want to talk about this? I mean, both of you can, but I see you have the sign which loosely is like gun rights are for liberty or something like that.
Yes, armed and united will reach liberty and equality.
And do you want to tell me about that theme? What is the kind of cross-section of gun rights and liberty? And of course we're here at immigration.
Gun rights protect your liberty. Without having our gun rights have already been trampled. That's a given, but what we have left, without the ability to defend yourself, defend your property, defend your ideals, your liberty is pretty much just words on paper in that point. Because, right now, those cops are right there and, they're just chilling, but there's nothing really, there are laws on paper to stop them from committing atrocities, but if they really wanted to, there's nothing really stopping them coming here fucking with us, arresting us, And even if there are laws, even if we fight it in court, they're still gonna give us a fucking bad thing. And there's nothing stopping the government from fucking you. There's nothing stopping the government from infringing on your liberties. And historically, there are times where government has infringed on people's liberties to the point where they restrict their right to life. I mean, perfect example. You look at fucking Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 40s. I mean, the first thing Hitler did. A lot of people say Hitler enacted gun control and disarmed the population. That's not true. He did not disarm the entire population. He disarmed the Jews. And then everybody knows what happens next. It's in every fucking history book ever.
So what do you see as the intersection between like immigrants' rights and gun rights?
Just because you came to this country, just because you're from a different land, doesn't mean you're not entitled to the same rights that we are. That's where the cross street.
Every right is protected.
Yeah, crossroads is.
Every right is protected with the gun rights. Without the gun rights, we can't really protect any right.
And not only that, like the Constitution applies to everybody. It's not you're a legal citizen, so now you have rights. Like, are you gonna tell me an illegal immigrant doesn't have a right to free speech? Does an illegal immigrant not have a right to a fair trial by jury? Does an illegal immigrant not have the right to not be held a slave? Like the 13th Amendment. Like all these things, why would we deny these rights to people just because they don't have the approval of government to be in the land where we're supposed to be free? Part of being free is being able to travel freely. If you come to this country, the journey that most immigrants take, like the journey saw them come from South Central America, South America, they take that journey on foot. They go through those fucking jungles, they go through several different countries, they don't only bypass American immigration agents, they bypass Mexican immigration agents and Salvador, depending on where they come from. They go through a long journey, they risk their lives just to come here, just at the chance that they might have a better life, because let's be honest, most of the time they come here and they live in poverty here and they don't really advance that far, because it's hard for them. Especially when you don't speak the language and you get treated like shit. I mean, there's only so far you can advance.
I had a commenter with this specific question. Do you guys believe in the non-aggression principle?
Yes,
absolutely.
Do any of you feel like explaining that to those who are like, what does that mean?
It means that you just don't initiate force on others. And the only time that any kind of force is justified is when it's in defense of yourself or in defense of liberty or in defense of others. But there is no justifiable act of aggression when you are the aggressor. And that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but for the most part, like, most people have a general idea of what aggression is.
Fair enough, thank you. Is this technically a pistol? That was the other thing that was speaking.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to tell me about that?
I mean, it's just the Springfield Saint pistol, basically.
I see that says
I'm a small person, so I like small things.
So you were able to actually extend the...
it just, with the new laws today, I can't have the stock anymore, so I gotta have it. I have to unlock it with I can't do it anymore. I have to get the one with the Allen ring.
So that says adjustable, but it literally isn't?
No, it's adjustable, but I gotta literally use the Allen key to adjust it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
but they just don't want you to be able to, like, pull and do it.
New gun laws, new threads.
Fair enough. Do you mind if I ask about Pepe? Yeah. It's interesting. I haven't seen Pepe show up at events in quite a while. My footage was actually in a movie, a documentary about Pepe. It was called Feels Good Man. I would definitely recommend it. But it followed the guy.
You see how he watching her? They ain't never see it like this. They ain't never see it like this before. They getting it all angles. It's all falling out the bag now. You know, it is what it is. I for one can tell you that the game has changed. And look how he's stalking her. 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 He trying to figure her out. They ain't never seen it like this, bro. Let's get it.
Before I can begin, I must do something that we don't like to do anymore. And that's pay homage and respect to the people who have taken the time out of their lives to be here for a few minutes just to hear what we have to say. Because it's not just you. You didn't just take a couple of minutes out of your time to come and hear what we had to say. You didn't just show up because the question was so juicy. You just had to throw your 2 cents in. You came because there's something inside of you that says, this ain't right and it don't feel right in my spirit. And I'm looking for an answer somewhere. And every time I think I have an answer, it turns out that somebody played another trick on me. Somebody pushed another button on me. Somebody played me like a deck of cards. So I have to give respect first to all of those who took the time out, no matter where you are in the world. I have to greet our global audience this morning because the brothers and the sisters are not in short supply. We are not a minority. That's a brainwash. That's about to answer your question. Don't believe all these things about you that they say are inferior. That's a brainwash that we about to get into in a minute. You see, the key to this whole game is what they said before. Let this mind be in. Keep your mind focused on. Let your mind not be. Notice the word mind keeps coming up. We're so busy not realizing that the true rape, the true slavery, the true colonization, the true reason they can turn us against each other, the true reason why we can never move forward is because we are still colonized and enslaved in our minds. It is not what they're taking out of the motherland. So to all of the people, the 55 million black folks in Brazil, to the 46 million black folks in the United States, to the 8 million black folks in Haiti, the 7 million in the Dominican Republic, the 4 million in Colombia, the 5.5 million that are sitting in France, not to forget the 2.5 million that sit in Jamaica, 3 million in the UK, 1.1 million in Canada, Mexico, Cuba, Ecuador, Italy, Spain, Germany. Isn't it amazing? They've kept their population at just 1 million. In Peru, there's 800,000. Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, we're talking 500,000-600,000. We are everywhere. So we're not the minority. There's a long supply of us, and that in itself is the problem. That's why they play these games. That's why we have to have this discussion. But I wanted to pay respect first to my entire global family. You see, everything I just named is the name of a government, not the name of a people. Everything that I just called out is a structure that was set up by white people. Let's just call it what it is. Don't hide behind a flag. Don't hide behind some name you made up. Let's just split it straight down the middle. You got white folks, you got black folks, and then you got people mixed up in the middle. It's the people mixed up in the middle that I'm gonna have to deal with to get to the core of the problem of what we was talking about, how we got to where we are today. While that question is still relevant, and while all y'all running around talking about it's black history this and it's black history that, you need to wake up and realize that it's still happening right now. You don't have to go back and lift up those people from 60 years ago when you got people right here from 6 minutes ago that's already going through the same thing. Because the truth of the matter is the answer to your question is there are two things that white folks figured out a long time ago about us. Number one, we're deeply spiritual people. No matter what flavor the spiritual may be, once we latch on to it, we'll give our lives in order to hold on to that which we believe in, which gives us stability. They figured that out about us. We couldn't be bought. We couldn't be bamboozled. Oh, but if we could take control of their belief system, if we could take control of their fear of their spiritual ancestors, if we could find a way to control that, that's the way in. The second thing they learned was fear is a very effective weapon. And if you haven't realized that, notice how this world operates. Everything is preceded by fear. Look out, it's gonna get you. Watch out for the plague, it's gonna get you. Look out, the army, the bad guys are coming, they gonna get you. Ooh, there's something that's gonna happen with the finances, it's gonna get you. Everything is fear. because they know that when you can press the button of fear, you can control a whole demographic of people. If you can control fear, you can motivate people to do things they probably normally wouldn't do. You got to let us do this so we can protect you, so we can make your life easier, because you don't want to be fear. You remember I said that your love for spirituality and the ability to control your fear from what was at one time the most feared race of people on the planet. So I wanted to start off by saying to all of you all around the world that are listening, that are part of my family, and you are, no matter what they've done to us, no matter how they scattered us, no matter what they put in your mind, at the end of the day, you are family of my kind. Now let's go back, and we have to do a little bit of traveling back before I can continue to unpack this, and I'm going to try to keep it short.
Yes, that's a question. Why is NFAC? Because from outside in the United States, we saw lions, soldiers, rebels moving from cities to city in the United States with guns, rifles. So why is NFAC came about? That's what we want to know.
You have to understand what I just said. Fear. You see, there are certain things that don't show up until certain conditions exist. The atmosphere that Donald Trump's administration created in the United States created the perfect environment for the creation of an organization that was needed to defend our people from continued aggressions, police brutality, and a whole lot of other stuff that was race-based. An organization that could begin to eradicate the stereotype that a black person with a gun must be doing something wrong. That's brainwashed into people. People respond to it and don't even know why. Oh my God, he's got a gun. Oh, that's scary. Fear began to take hold. So we had to address that. Something to say we're not afraid. You can't just put a threat out every week and they coming to get us. No, we tired of being scary slaves. We're tired of you trying to control what our mindset is. We're tired of you trying to influence how we feel. We're tired of you trying to keep us distracted while you continue to do things to us. In fact, was born out of necessity. Not because somebody said, I'm going to be the next one to get up there and lead the movement. You must be out your mind to not look at history and find out, and I had to do it, that every single person who has stepped on the X to try to uplift our people, to try to unify our people, and especially to try to arm and organize our people, has ended up three ways. And I've said this before, and anybody who's ever watched my show knows that. You're either going to end up dead, in jail, or you're going to be in exile. And everybody reads these things and they read about these people in the past that this happened to, yet you fail to realize it still goes on today. The reason you didn't know it was going on, because ain't nobody been crazy enough to step into this particular spot and do exactly what's being done. Not just talk about it, not sell DVDs about it, not get on the internet and talk about it, not get in little conventions where we all feel good then go home, not go to the UN and make speeches of promises you never keep, but actually do something about it. Get off your behind, get in the streets, get in the face of the people that's doing it to you, and let them know. Look here, we prepared to hit you back. You see, we're not barbarians. So we're not just gonna come out and act like animals and attack you. The NFAC was born as a response. It was not born because we're gonna go out and we're gonna take it to the man. Stop with that low level vibration thinking. Stop it. Open your third eye a little wider and look at why. And it should have just been the NFAC. People all around the world was getting their behinds handed to them at the hands of white people. People don't like to hear me say white people because there's fear in your blood. You can fear it when I just said, ooh, he shouldn't say that, because you got fear implanted in your DNA, and you handed down generationally. And a group of us got together and said, we're not operating in fear no more. People can say what they want to say about the NFAC, but every last one of those brothers and sisters have had enough. Every last one of those brothers and sisters says, I might not have a whole lot to lose, but I'd rather lose that than keep putting up with this. And it was under the administration of Donald Trump that everything got brought out in the open. And it spread around the world. Yes, it did. Because everything spreads around the world. When people outside the United States saw how white people was running up on black folks and calling the police on black folks for nothing, and the cops was shooting black folks down and won't nothing happening, yeah, the world got upset over George Floyd because they thought the black folks in America was upset over George Floyd. But as usual, everybody want to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and get on their knees and forgive people, and then we right back to business again. That's why the NFAC was created. Because black people needed to see that black people were not just going to keep sitting here talking about, well, you know, we're going to still keep waiting. We're waiting on, y'all always waiting. Enough waiting. What y'all waiting on? There ain't no perfect people out here. If they are, well, there'll be no need for us. But all this waiting and all of this, well, yeah, we want to move, but all this hesitation, fear. And the hardest thing for black people to admit is when they're afraid. The hardest thing for black people to admit is that they might have been wrong. But the worst thing about black people today, and I'm not criticizing my people, I'm just telling you why the NFAC had to be created, is that we have adopted a victim mentality. We're always waiting for someone else to do the work for us. We're always waiting for someone else to pull us up by our bootstraps. If they say reparations, everybody's in line, but nobody's there to make the line. The NFAC was the answer to all of that. An inspiration to our own people that you can do it too. A signal to the people that still hate us because of the color of our skin, that your time with that ain't gonna keep on working. And most importantly, that we too know how to use your system to do the exact same thing, to say the exact same things to you, that by you doing it says to us. That is why the NFAC was born. It was born out of necessity. When you have a virus, your body raises the temperature to kill the virus. They raised the temperature, and so we became the cure.
Wow. So obviously, talking about the, we're gonna go to through your court case. You've been to Atlanta, Georgia, Stone Mountain. I think that's one of the breakout of NFAC globally. Even though you've been through other cities as well. So do you reckon our people, they still not understand the word of policing ourselves and self-protecting ourselves? Because at the time we're waiting for the police to show up while we can protect ourselves. You reckon, can we really trust enough? Can we really trust this police all over the world? I don't care if you're born in if you're London, Paris. Can we really trust this police, or do we really have faith that this police ever going to understand our pain worldwide? This police department.
The answer is still the same, my brother. Again, victimization, a victimization mentality. Somebody help me. Somebody come help me. You see, that's what's called reactionary policing. Something happens, you call for help, somebody reacts. You have to live with the reaction. And lately, that reaction is something where you're going to either get killed or you're going to get pulled into a system that's going to destroy your life. On the other hand, self-protecting means just that. But you want to be clear. Self-policing is proactive. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows each other. Everybody can go and head off some things before they escalate. So that's what policing does. We're making sure stuff don't happen. That is proactive policing. Protecting is a completely different story. Protecting means our race falls under attack. Not any one incident. Somebody just blew the whistle and now they're killing every black person they can find in the streets like they did back in 1909 in Atlanta. Innocent people who did nothing, had nothing to do with the situation. You just happened to be black and in the wrong place at the wrong time. There needs to be something to push back against that. And if you're going to put your protection in the hands of the same people that are attacking you, you're a goddamn fool.
Wow. So, let us move forward. Help us to understand these charges against you. Obviously, we know the FBI. They now in your case. They now in your neck. And not only the FBI, we've got some of the agencies in the United States government. So let us talking about the Breonna Taylor case. So we got Daniel Cameron, Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General. He came about lying, flat out lie. Help us to understand. Is that safe to say the reason they gave you this Trump crazy charges is because of what's happened at Breonna Taylor? Because you brought that situation into the world. You brought that situation. You shook the state government over there in Kentucky. Help us to understand the Breonna Taylor case, or is that's the case that now they really over you?
First of all, I'm not going to say anything that could be used against me because I have several court dates coming up. People are free to think what they want to think. There are those who believe this is political payback for the moves that we made to expose or bring transparency to the Breonna Taylor case, which was just one incident. However, when you look at the list of players involved, and then you look at the situation that they have placed me in, the irony that at the state level, the very individual that I had to talk and walk with to find out what was going on with the Breonna Taylor case is now the same individual who is sitting over the state level case that presides against me. At the U.S. government level, it's a completely different story. When you're dealing with the U.S. government, it is in fact the U.S. government. In this particular instance, the U.S. government has decided to follow the lead of these individuals and come with their own set of charges for a totally separate case. At the end of the day, what I end up with is a boatload of charges based on a rather interesting incident that they claim happened, which of course they have to prove. But at the end of the day, there are many in the community who have said this is political payback because of the fact that not only does it in effect throw a hindrance or a stumbling block in the face of the movement itself, it is also a slap in the face, poetically, to blacks around the world, that the moment we start to do anything that makes us start to feel good about ourselves, that gives us some backbone that we can stand up and say, I am a man, I am a woman, I deserve to be respected and be treated equally. There are many who feel that that is what this is. This is a bigger chess move. It is not simply the fact that, of course, let's just be honest, if I had done, there's a track record in America that anyone who has pointed a weapon at a police officer or law enforcement official in America, even if they're perceived to have a weapon, and in many cases it turns out to be a cell phone or a tube of chapstick, or last time it was a sandwich. We have a demonstrated history that no one survives those encounters. They are killed immediately on the spot. And then there's an investigation to figure out what happened. However, in this particular incident, I am supposed to have done that and done the impossible and survived for 3 months. Even though they had multiple opportunities to bring this issue up to me, because it's not like they never saw me again. But they brought this up, and the timing is suspect. The timing is suspect for many reasons. Remember, I told you, the NFAC was born out of the atmosphere of the Donald Trump administration. Therefore, it would only seem fitting that those individuals that were put in power by Donald Trump, and in their waning days, as the ship was sinking, decided to give one last final shot across the bow. And that was what they've done with me. Not just the charges, but also the removal of my First Amendment rights to speak. Oh, they said, no, don't speak on social media. And you have to understand that 20 years ago, that wouldn't have made a difference. There's still what we have right now, TV and radio. But when you stop and think that the communication medium of today is social media, then it is a direct attack on freedom of speech, because there's no way you're going to tell me that there's any relevance to my presence on social media and the charge that you have charged me with in this particular incident of pointing a flashlight at some people and, doing all these, that was all of these heinous things. However, you've got a group of folks who decided to run up in the Capitol, smear doo-doo on the walls, kill 5 people, go into some of the most hallowed legal offices in this country, sit on the desk, stole the computer, did all of these things, and then left and went home. Now they're going on vacations. Now they are trying to get charges dismissed, but they are under none of these restrictions, nor are they being treated as I am being treated when the NFAC has a 0 incident record. Never have we destroyed one piece of property. All of our assemblies have been peaceful. We've had nothing but positive comments from every city legislature that we've worked along with. Yet we're being treated like we're the ones that ran for the Capitol. We're being treated like, I'm being treated like I'm the one that put doo-doo on the walls. I'm being treated like I'm the one that was threatening to kidnap the governor of one of these states and take her out. I'm being treated like I'm the one who got a weapon and my mama took me up to another state and I got out and stuck myself in the middle of a protest and killed some people, got out on $2 million bond, and now can't nobody find me. If that was me, I would be on every internet page. If you went to pour a bowl of milk, I'd be on the milk carton. They would make sure, because there's some hypocrisy in this whole situation. The racial hypocrisy of what is showing to us right now, and for the rest of the world to be kept in the dark. You see, one of the things about when you talked about the Mandela situation was that the world knew about apartheid in South Africa. The world knew about the imprisonment of Mr. Mandela. The world knew, and the world wasn't having it, and the pressure was so great that they had to eventually let that man go. And you saw where he went, and then you saw what his wife became in the movement. Yet they have realized that with the power of the internet, the power of media, there's an old saying that the truth, that the lie gets around the world 3 times before the truth can get their shoes on. And the internet is the racetrack. So when they talk about restricting, like right now, censoring all of these things, it's because of the fact that there's a lot of political going on behind the scenes. Everything is not at the local level. And the tragedy of our people is that since we haven't seen these tactics in the last 60 years, we don't know when that's being played out against us right now. That's why in 5 days, I go before a judge in Louisville, in the same courthouse that I stood on the steps of and demanded justice for Breonna Taylor 7 months ago. If you want to ask yourself that question, do you think it's political? Go back and do the history and look at the names. Go back and watch all of the video. Look at the position of the city, the state, and the U.S. government. Don't forget that the president at the time called us thugs on the plane. Do not omit the fact that a sitting U.S. congressman threatened my life and 10 of my militia members if we exercised our constitutional rights in his city, which we did in Lafayette, Louisiana. But nothing happened to him. Go back and look at the track record. And you ask yourself this question. You don't need to ask Grandmaster Jay, is this political payback? You don't need to ask Grandmaster Jay, are they doing the same thing to him that they've done to every one of us that's ever stepped forward? You don't have to ask me that. What you have to do is get over your fear.
Wow. So, brothers and sisters, as you can see, the show is everywhere. They shut us down one point, we move into another thing. So I need you to go to whether any social, because remember, we're not streaming straight, because we understand this game, they've been playing with us. We're not streaming straight from the social network. Brothers and sisters getting the link and they're posting their own page. Get it right. We're streaming right from the Radio Diamond website. I'm from the Radio Diamond radio itself. So the sound, it comes out of the radio, of the Facebook and the YouTube and the image at the same time. So primarily, we're streaming from the Radio Diamond TV and the Radio Diamond Radio. So we can back it up. In case if they want to come to the side, oh yeah, but no. We know this static. We understand it. Media from deep inside out. So brothers and sisters, share the message. Keep on sharing. Like literally brothers in Mozambique everywhere. Let me tell you, Jamaica, they're sharing hard, and they're gonna burn it down to the city and give it to the family. That's what we do in media. We're not doing media just for you out there, Zuckerberg, all you Facebook and Instagram. No. We understand it. We went over it. We understand it. We're doing the new school and the old school for y'all. So share the message. Keep on sharing, my brothers and sisters. Let the truth be spoke. That's what it is. So, Grandmaster Jay, talking about the campaign now. We got brothers and sisters. Explain to us about this GoFundMe. That's really important, because get your money, brother. I don't need you to be babu here. Get your money and help the cause. Don't be out here. We don't want to see you make money off YouTube or somebody else's name. No. We want to make contribution for the revolution. So help us to understand why this GoFundMe page came about, real quick, because we understand it's down to the court case. But you got a couple of minutes to really explain about this GoFundMe page and the money that the movement's trying to raise for this case.
Understood. Let me answer that like this. You see, when the U.S. government made up their minds that they were going to come after the leader of the black militia, they didn't do it out of the blue. They had meetings and what the impact would be, because they learned their lessons also from the 60s. There's a wonderful tape out right now called the MLK assassination tapes. If you haven't seen the specials, you should go watch it, because it shows you that they didn't have any meetings before the assassination of MLK, and they had to deal with all of the fallout. In this particular instance, by the way they executed everything, they knew that there would be a great outcry. So they made sure that we're going to get him in, get him in the system, and then get him out and put him back out with his people, because as long as we keep him in a cage, we can't control the response. One of the responses was, while I was locked up, someone started a GoFundMe for me. I had nothing to do with it. I was too busy sitting in a cage looking at walls. But I was very pleased to hear about it when I came home. The GoFundMe is for this reason. And I said this before. You need to understand the strategy of destroying leaders or destroying anyone who steps up for their people. First, they character assassinate you. They put out all kind of information to make people feel some kind of way about you, because they know that if they can destroy the connection, like I said, they know how devoted we are, how spiritual we are. If they can destroy that first, then they can do the rest. So that's when the character assassination started, all of the YouTube videos and people sitting around saying crazy stuff, and people who don't know any better buying into it. The next thing they do is they assassinate you financially. And the way they do that is they simply get you involved in the judicial system, which is very, very expensive, especially when you're fighting just one case at the state level. I'm fighting 2 cases at the state and the federal level. And just like somebody said, you're going to have some Johnny Cochran dream team, blah, blah, blah. Then you got other people saying, nah, this case is too easy. We can beat it. But you know what you can't talk about? How expensive the lawyers are. And there are a lot of people who still don't know what's going on, because you don't need to know what's going on. This is not a soap opera. This is not something that you can just tune in and get the update and feel good. This is my life. And since you're not sitting in the box, you can't sit there and take an opinion about how things should be executed, because you don't see the whole goddamn picture. You don't see the whole team either. The GoFundMe was started because people realized how expensive lawyers can be. $10,000 just to sit down with 2 lawyers for an hour so we can strategize, but you got to come up with 10 racks when you walk out. You see, you get what you paid for. So GoFundMe was started, and the GoFundMe was going pretty well. The individual that was running that GoFundMe began receiving threats. She shut down that GoFundMe, and for those who would like to know, every dime of it came to me. They started a new GoFundMe, which is still up right now. And that GoFundMe was put up by somebody who says, I'm not afraid of anybody. We're going to try to make sure that they don't do what they're trying to do. You see, if they can break me financially, there's no way we can do a million 2A. If they can break Jay financially, there's no way that he can continue to be at the front of the movement, because he'll be too busy trying to eat, sleep, and you know the other piece. So that is the strategy. The GoFundMe is to counter that. It is to pay off these exorbitant legal fees that they're hitting me with. I don't think y'all realize how much it costs to bring in experts. I don't think y'all realize. A lot of people, they're just going to drop it and go away. You don't know the U.S. government. The U.S. government never drops anything. They would rather lose in court than to drop charges and admit that they made a mistake. Same thing at the state level. They'd rather say, well, you know what? We just going to put it out there and you get out of it. You see, some people know that there's a bigger intent. So the GoFundMe is actually the water to put out the fire. And you know something, I'm going to go back and tell you something that I've been waiting to say to the people. This is not about who's going to give and who's not. You don't have to give a thing. Because I had a saying a long time ago. You know those people who always talk about what they would have did back in the 60s when they see the civil rights movement, or what they would have did when slavery was going on, and how much they would have, they bouted about it. You know people who said all of that? Whatever you're doing right now is exactly what you would have been doing back then. So if all you're doing is sit back commenting because all you're worried about is your own little turf and the only thing you care about is your family, ask yourself this. When they get done with me, who do you think is next? Because if they can take somebody who hasn't broken any laws, who simply tried to stand up for his people and railroad them off to federal and state prison to keep them quiet, to keep you quiet, to keep the status quo, to keep the brainwash intact, then let me see you try to fight back against something as simple as a vaccine. You got bigger problems than that. So those people who don't know, that's one thing. But those people who are fully aware, again, like I said, fear and brainwashing. And how that manifests itself is very, very interesting to me, especially amongst black people. I am getting a first-hand lesson in how all of these activists must have felt in the 60s, including up until the time they were assassinated. You know, one of the strangest scenes that always used to bother me when I watched Spike Lee's Malcolm X was the scene where he knew when he went in to make his last speech that they was going to kill him. And he knew the threat was coming from his own people, which is the topic of where we are today. Once again, you all have played right into their hands. And there are people sitting there right now looking at me that would think that, well, you know what? I'm opposed to this. You know what? Somebody gonna kill him. I said, I'll do it. You know what? Because now you're doing exactly what they programmed you to do. You have no pride in your race. You might have pride in your clique. You might have pride in your perverted version of a religion. You might have pride in the swindles that you can run making money off your own people. You might even have pride in the hustle that you have. But you ain't got no pride in your own people. You claim you're for the black community. I'm the black community. You claim that we got to get ourselves together. I'm who you need to get together. You always talking about we need to wait until somebody comes along. I'm somebody that came along. You always talking about we want reparations and liberation. Well, here's your liberation right here. Here's your separation right here. Here's your reparation right here. So don't talk out of your side of your neck saying that you down for the cause and you support the cause in spite of everything we've been through, in spite of the terrible shape that we're in globally. But then sit in your hands and do nothing and spectate. The GoFundMe is simply one thing. There are many things that we can do. There should be protests in the street every day. There should be people dressed in black in every city when they take me into the courtroom. Because they're not just putting me on trial. They're putting the black movement on trial. They're putting the right for us to arm ourselves on trial. They're trying to make sure that white people continue to see that they're reinforcing the stereotype that black people and guns don't mix.
So, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, soldiers and rebels from all over the world. No, Grandmaster J didn't ask because we had people bombarding us with the calls, our messages. Say, Alpha, you need to spread this message. I said, yes, we're going to do that because regardless if you disagree or agree with Grandmaster J, the question to you, are you ready to defend yourself? Are you ready to stand in solidarity with one another? Are you ready to put your boots on the ground? Are you ready to put your money where your mouth is? That's a question I'm asking you. So, brothers and sisters, this is a GoFundMe page that sister just sent it to me. She screenshot and sent it to me. I said, now I gotta promote it. So this is the GoFundMe page. All you're gonna have to do is simple. I see my brothers on Facebook fired up on Facebook, fired up on Instagram. I need you to do me one thing. Get your money, whether your pound, whether your dollar, whether your euro. Go to GoFundMe page. Just type Grandmaster J Legal Defense Fund. I'll say to you one more time. The Grandmaster J Legal Defense Fund. Go out there. Not that he didn't ask me to say this. I'm saying it because I've been through this situation. So go out there and make your donation. Just do it and be quiet. Oh, spread it. Because at times you gonna say, "Oh, I donate." I give. No. Just give your donation and mobilize yourself. So, Grandmaster J, talking about the obviously the actual behavior of our people. Right now, we've got brothers and sisters really don't understand what's going on. We've got the system push the black man away from home, and we're having the sisters now fighting. What is your take about some of the behavior of some of our brothers who really don't understand? They fear sit down home with this, they fear about this coronavirus, but meanwhile, we still got to get gunned down in the streets of New York, London, Birmingham, Paris. What is your view about the behavior of some of our brothers and sisters? We feel like they're still behaving like a baby, like a crybaby on the internet. They want to make money, just sit down on YouTube, on Facebook. Then we're having you stimulating our people, inspiring our people to say, you know what, let's go out in the street, let's do something about it, because we'd rather do something now than dying for nothing. What is your take about it, Grandmaster J?
Well, first, I like the term that you use, a baby. And regardless of how the baby acts, that baby still needs to be loved. That baby still needs to be protected. That baby needs to be fed correctly. And then that baby needs to be educated spiritually and intellectually correctly. So the first thing I would say is that for all of my melanated brothers and sisters around the world, that I love you. First, unconditionally. No matter how you act, friend or foe, I still love you. And I think that is the thing that hurts us the most, that we haven't been loved on. And we haven't loved on each other. We've used the words. We haven't demonstrated in our actions, nor our attitudes. And there are reasons for that. And I say that because in order for you to understand what happened to the love, where did the love go? Show me some love. Well, here's why. In recent history or recorded history, remember, let me just touch on this real quick. It was the Portuguese when they first landed in 1471 on the West African coastal town of Elmina. And if you all know what Elmina means, it means the mine, like the gold mine. But when they showed up, they didn't just show up and come with we bring gifts and good tidings and this, that, and the third. It was a struggle. And we know that. The Portuguese were interested in the gold. And they call themselves Europeans. I don't. It's just white people. It just came from a different place. But they realized something. They got inside of that part of Africa. And they were followed by the Swedes, the Danes, and the British. And when they got there, they picked sides along the ethnic lines of the groups, all the way to the hinterlands. And then they set the natives against each other. Then gained from those conflicts, they got slaves and much, much more. Some of this went right over somebody's head. What they put between us to cause us to turn against each other so they could benefit is the same strategy that they use against us now. Different weapons, silent weapons for silent wars. Psychological. So when I see my brothers and sisters do things like what you talked about, when I see brothers and sisters that tend to look at each other separately, when brothers look at women as objects or women look at men as simply a means to survive, then what has happened is that they have psychologically transformed you into looking at your other half as something separate. Individualism has crept into your soul and you're no longer a member of a productive family. You are an evil stepkid sitting on the outside trying to figure out what can I get out of the house. That's what they've done to us as a race. Destroy their unity, destroy their spiritual cohesiveness, make them not trust each other to the point where anything that we say about them will cause them to fight amongst themselves, eventually tear themselves apart, and then because we know they're a warrior group, kill one another. But all that comes from 400 years ago of conditioning that we're now still seeing the fruits of that. As a matter of fact, when the merchants and the sailors, even the priests, what they call became civilized, It was because they accepted Christianity. That's when they said they were civilized. And then that helped them take over commerce. And then they fed it to the children and the local African women. Y'all don't seem to think that this program has been going on for a long time. But then when they found out that we wouldn't 100% trust them, they had to get into our heads another way. And I'm going to help somebody out because there's somebody struggling right now that's watching me because they've heard me say this term before. But I think I need to go ahead and understand that when people use this term, you need to know where it actually came from. And that was the most insidious weapon that Europeans, white folks, used against us. And that was our own kind. And you've heard the term mulatto. They say, oh, you're a mulatto. Y'all heard this term before. The word mulatto is used in Africa. It's borrowed from the Portuguese word mulatto, which in turn comes from the root word mulo, which means mule, which means A has nothing to do with B. So how did that become connected to mixed race offspring? Again, they say they're not too clear on where that came from, but they theorize. Watch this. About to connect some teaching here, that the Moor occupation of Andalusia introduced the Arabic term muwaddawal on the Iberian Peninsula, and they crisscrossed together. So what they're actually talking about was the mixing of Arab and African blood, not white people. Excuse me 1 second, can you please turn that down? Excuse me for a second, can you please turn that down? Y'all hold on a second. I can hear that, thank you. I need you to turn that down, thank you. All right. As I was saying, it's gotten to a position where they've learned to use us against us. And they did it by intermingling with us. That doesn't mean that everybody that's mixed breed today has been bred for that reason. People can't help who their parents are. But back then, there was a program enacted by white folks to infiltrate our culture using our own people. As a matter of fact, those people that they produced, they gave them better privileges and gave them a better way of life. So the rest of us, who were actually 100% black or African or whatever you want to call it, Kemetic, we saw that as something to aspire to. We saw they brainwashed us into believing that if we acted like they did, life would be better, when the truth of the matter is, while they were raping, robbing, and pillaging us for our resources, they were brainwashing us into thinking that the little bit of riches they gave back to our people that they bred with would make us want to be like them. That's why you see sisters trying to lighten their skin out. That's why you see sisters gluing hair into their head trying to look like a white person, when the truth of our DNA is our hair is nothing like that long stringy fur that you see on animals. Our hair is coarse and tight because it serves a purpose. It's a shield and it's a helmet. But they've been brainwashed. So when you see these things, you have to examine when the behaviors that you see today, even to the point of being paralyzed by fear, is all because of centuries of programming that has been done to reduce us from the position that we sat in to believing, really believing, and being shown that the best way out of your current situation, if you want to be comfortable, if you want the money, if you want the gold, if you want the jewels, if you want to have some say-so, as a matter of fact, if you go back and study history, you'll find out that the first black people that were appointed to positions of power were not 100% black. There's a reason for that. Once again, when you ask me about my opinion of the behaviors I see today, I can't answer them through the lens of today. I have to look at them through the lens of history and see how we got here. That's why we act the way we do. We've been programmed to do it.
Oh, wow. Brothers and sisters, kings and queens, soldiers and rebels from all over the world, what I need you to do in about 5 minutes, we're going to be opening up the line. So Grandmaster Jay will answer all the questions to you. But again, it's about understanding what we're talking about today. The European and the American government always use our people to kill our leaders. Do you agree or disagree on this one? So I need you to call. This is the number for you to call in. Because when we do a show with Grandmaster Jay, the show fly quickly. Just go. I need you. So your question will be like 30 seconds, your call. I've seen people calling before. We have in the call of one of our special guests, caller. He's a chief in Africa. He will explain what he's doing right now in Africa. He's revolutionized the chiefs in Africa. Because you understand the power in Africa lies in the hands of the chiefs. Because they can do anything. They can wipe you out for a second. They can voodoo you, all your family. So they just have to turn themselves now into a revolutionary. Because they've been too slow, sitting down in the trees and sitting down the rivers, living with the nature, not understanding these politicians is in the pocket of the Westminsters, is in the pocket of London government, of Washington DC government, of Paris government. These politicians in their pocket, in the pocket of them, of the Europeans. So now we need to spark the chiefs. And believe it or not, that's what our great guest here, it did that because I had a phone call from the chief. I'm like, Chief from Africa, what's going on? I just said, I want to talk to you. Then I seen the drum, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay. I stood up and I realized, something serious here. You're about to see from the chief himself. But this is the number for you to call, right there in your screen. Write down Facebook family all over the world, YouTube family. Write down, this is the number right there. As you can see in your screen, this is the number. +44 74 38 15 9 36 7. This is a WhatsApp call number. You can call from all over the world. And if you're in the UK, you can call normal. So in 5 minutes, we're going to open up the line. So go back to Grandmaster Jay. Obviously now we understand the government, the United States government. They create militias when they not agree with what you're doing. Help us to understand the focus, the number one focus of a militia. Because people don't understand. They think they're just a bunch of people running out with the guns. Help us to understand the number one, some of the focus or the object of a militia.
First and foremost, thank you for that question. I don't think people understand the difference, and I'm glad you asked. A militia is not a gun club. A militia is not a bunch of people who get together to lobby Congress for gun laws. A militia is not any of those things. A militia is not a group of people who get together so that because they're gun enthusiasts and they just like to talk about guns and talk about how good they can shoot and they get together. That's not a militia. A militia is an organization that is created to respond to an emergency or be prepared to respond to an emergency. In the United States, both political parties have a history of their own militias that they deployed when things didn't go their way. When a certain political party in North Carolina did not win the election, they sent in their militia to overthrow the elected government, take over the place, and put their own government in place. In some countries, if you notice, just like what happened in Myanmar, when the military overthrows the government, they call it a coup. However, that very well could have been a militia. A militia is a tool that is to be used to express a political point or a position or to respond to one. The NFAC was created in response to the emergency of the ongoing crimes that were being committed against our people. A militia is a semblance of the military. It has structure. It has rules that everybody may not agree with. It is not a club. It is not a social group. It is not something that you can decide to move on your own. Those are clubs, and those are, I don't care what you call those. But by its definition, a militia is an armed, organized group with a specific mission that can be called up to assist, if called, with other emergencies. I'll give you an example. We just had a very extensive cold snap that we've never seen before that reached all the way down into states where they normally don't experience that stuff. Texas was a great example. The power grid failed, very, very cold, people died. If the United States was to send in the National Guard or whoever they were supposed to send in, and then we noticed that there was nobody helping our people, then of course the NFAC would then be in a position as a militia to go in and help those people, whether it's deliver water, food, evacuate people, Those are the responsibilities of a militia. A militia is not just a bunch of people walking around with guns. Militias have two other missions. They can either be offensive or they can be defensive. What I find interesting is whenever militias have been offensive, they've been classified as terrorist groups. But when they're defensive, they're not classified at all. Southern Poverty Law Center has not labeled us a hate group or a terrorist group, probably because we haven't committed any acts of violence. But when you're a defensive group, the only act of violence you can commit is self-defense. And no one in their right or wrong mind has fired a shot at the NFAC to this day. So the purpose of the militia is to respond to a situation. When that situation is gone, the militia is still there, just in case it comes back again. And that is the difference between a militia, a group of activists, and a club.
So, explain to us real quick about the NFAC. Obviously, people even afraid to say this name. Oftentimes, when I see people from all these white media, European media, they like, oh, they start panicking. Even the name, I've seen people like, no, just say it like it is. Not fucking the wrong coalition. And even that's one of the British, I think, that did an interview. The channel A4, they got in touch with me, the first interview, and then they flew to Atlanta. And then I said, oh, can I speak with you, please? Can I find out more about the... Not, I'm like, say it, not fucking around. I'm like, okay, so help us to understand. The NFAC is a coalition of different organizations, or you got the main body, and then everybody follow the order. How the NFAC operates?
I'm not going to answer that question on this show, and I'll tell you why. Anybody who will sit on social media, TV media, radio media, and answer that question, you're a goddamn fool. Because history has shown us that the only way that they've been able to take apart organizations is the first thing they have to do is understand them. They need to know how they're structured, how many of them there are, where they are. And then they go in on those weak points, infiltrate, and apply pressure. Just know that the NFAC is a global coalition with affiliates all over the world. That's all I ever say, and that's all I'm ever going to say.
Wow.
Given the topic of this conversation, I think it's relevant. Let me touch on a couple things real quick. Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was assassinated by Byron D. Lebeckwith, who was a member of the White Citizens Council. But how did they find him? One of us helped. Fred Hampton. They came to see me on the anniversary of the Fred Hampton assassination at the same time, in the exact same manner. 4 a.m. in the middle of the morning, no knock, that whole 9 yards. Only I didn't get shot. But then again, you have to stop and think about how they were able to get the information. Harry and Harriet Moore. You all don't remember those two. They were a husband and a wife team of civil rights activists and teachers who founded the NAACP in Brevard County, Florida, back in the 50s. They had their houses bombed. Okay? Now, even though years later they found out that the KKK was behind the bombing, they weren't labeled a terrorist group, even when they found out. It was us that helped set them up. Malcolm X, do I need to say more? It was us that helped set him up. Martin Luther King, need I say more or less? It was us that helped set him up. So it's more relevant than ever that we understand that you don't sit online or on TV or on radio and give out all your information.
Wow. So, brothers and sisters, as you can see, we opened up the show actually by mentioning that. So, talking about those of our brothers and sisters, that at times they follow the media. At times they're riding behind the lies. Do you reckon in nowadays the media totally lost power because they used to have the overall power to lie about it, and then some of our people, they act on the basis of lies? Do you reckon the reason of, because the facts of the feeling, it was blowing up people's mind. You're waking up in the morning, inspiring the people to stay up, Then nighttime you give them something to talk about. Help us to understand the power of the Facts Over Feeling show on the Morning Mentor. Because until today, brothers and sisters still ask me, where I can get them. I said, brother, I don't know. So help us to understand the two shows that you fully broke into people's home, into people's here.
All right, let me try to keep this short. And now we're going to have to elevate a little higher. I did not set out to start any shows. What I did was, as we talk about, there's a calling. When there's a calling on your soul, you respond to it. You don't ignore the call. As the pandemic was ramping up, things began to change around us. And there were some things that I had always talked about from an investigative journalist perspective that now people were coming to me asking me, what about these things? And as we began to look at those things, we began to realize that there was a bigger purpose, a bigger plan in play, and it had nothing to do with our small, minuscule selves. That this was bigger. Those of us who are students of the Most High, those of us who have a spiritual connection back to our Creator, could tell that something was happening. So I began to speak to the people as I was called to do. No more, no less. No prophet, just word. And that's where Facts Over Feelings grew out of. Facts Over Feelings is simply nothing more than what I was called to teach. That I was empowered to teach. That I was gifted to teach. And it was strictly online. The popularity and the message grew and grew and grew. Once we got into the quarantine, I began the Morning Mentor because there were people who were trapped in their homes. They had no one to turn to. No one was talking to them. No one was giving them updates. Nobody was trying to allay their fear. So the Morning Mentor was born to give people that sense of stability so they could make it through the day in this crazy season that we're in. Most folks don't realize this, but the NFAC was born out of Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mentor. Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mentor is global. It is watched everywhere in countries where there's not even a shred of English. I've seen it where they spoke in languages even I don't understand, but they're interpreting the teachings because the time is now. This has nothing to do with the petty problems we're having here on the ground, but more about the higher spiritual warfare that we're entering. And I know a lot of people can't handle that because, once again, you've had your brain colonized. Even your belief system was colonized. So as soon as somebody starts talking about the Creator and the Most High, y'all get uncomfortable. You're supposed to, because the brainwash means you're supposed to get uncomfortable. Because you really don't know. You know what they told you. Now, Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mentor shattered that. Shattered theologies. Shattered some of these beliefs that they beat into you to make you believe that you're a Christian. Shattered all of that. Destroy their position of comfortability. Let them see that they were captives and that they were comfortable. People started to wake up. Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mentor have nothing to do with what the NFAC is doing. However, if you notice, it was the first thing that they went after once they were able to say, well, he did this, so now we don't want him to do that no more. You all got to look at the bigger picture. J. Edgar Hoover said it best. What is my worst nightmare? Black unity. And they like to leave this part off. And prevent the rise of a black charismatic male that can energize the nationalist black movement globally. Because once that fire is lit, there'll be nothing to stop it. Well, once again, they're trying to put out the fire by robbing you of facts over feelings, robbing you of the morning mental, and removing what was ever inspiring you to move forward. They want you to think everything's okay right now. You don't need facts over feelings. You don't need the morning mental. You don't need any of those. And then what the creator did was to show you all that when I call someone to speak on my behalf, like I do every so often, waiting for y'all to do something different than what you always do, which is sing their praises on Monday, crucify them on Friday, crucify them, and then forget about it. You've done that with every messenger that they said he sent. Every messenger. You do the same thing. You haven't done anything different yet. But this time the creator did something different. Silence.
Wow. So, brothers and sisters, now, yes, we having this quick call right here, right from South Africa, the land of our great mother Winnie Mandela. We've got a chief. We're not talking about regular chief that you can see in the street. Now we got a chief that is watching the show that wanted to address something to our special guest. Chief, you have the floor. Please, can you tell us your name and where exactly you are calling from, real quick, Chief?
In South Africa. My name is Chief Gabriel.
Right. So, Chief, real quick, what is your take about what's happened with Grandmaster Jay, and then what are you doing over there? I know you're doing big things. Real quick, tell us what is your take about Grandmaster Jay and what you're doing out there in Africa.
First of which, I would like to salute my brother, Master Jay, and we love you, my brother, and I'm so happy for what you're doing, and we are 100% behind you. And I just want to make a call to all our brothers and sisters in UK, in United States, in all over the world, all black brothers and sisters, that let's just be unite and be one and support our brothers. And the initiative that they've taken, Master J, is quite very impressive, and we are behind. We are supporting you, my brother, 100%. We are behind you. Thank you very much. We are here, and we love you.
So what I know you have been mobilizing the chiefs. On what reason you are mobilizing the chiefs over there in Africa?
Yes, we have that initiative. We have already started in terms of registering an organization that it will be there for the chiefs to take control, since you know that our politicians are selling our people, and we want to fight that. And you know that as chief we have power, you know, so we want to make sure that our people are taken care and protected against all this racism and all this discrimination that is happening, you know. So for the African people, all black people.
So Chief Rasaposa, any last message to Grandmaster Jay? I know you want to publicly make him an offer, so any last message to him? The floor is yours. You got a minute.
Thank you, my brother. As I said, that for most of occasions that we had a meeting, we had an interview with you, I emphasize that our brothers come back to Africa. This is the indigenous land. This is the indigenous land. Come and invest and come into Africa. Whatever that you want to do, we have got land. We have got plate of land in all the African states where you can do all your things, and we are behind you and support you. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much. Hold on a second. Grandmaster Jay, I don't know if you want to say something real quick to the chiefs, because right now, let me make it clear to all of you right there, publicly. Right now, I'll make it clear before Grandmaster Jay have the word to the chief. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, Chief Rasaposa is uniting all the chiefs from all over Africa. That's a massive revolution that is happening right now, because they're tired of all this government selling us out. So he's mobilizing himself. He put his own resources to say to the chief, let's unite and let's really come together to control our land totally. So Grandmaster Jay, do you want to say something to the chief before we let him go?
Yes, I do. First, I don't know if you can hear me, but first, the chief responsible from the South Africa portion of the motherland, I would say, first of all, thank you for taking the time out to speak. I understand the structure within the motherland, that those folks that are sitting in these political positions are powerless, that the power rests with the chiefs. And of course, I've said this once before, my overall vision and goal is the recognition of one day the United States of Africa. In order for that to happen, it would require the uniting effort of all of the indigenous people in the motherland to push the invaders back to where they were and the reclamation of our great motherland. I accept the offer that has been laid on the table by the chief. I look forward to speaking to the chief and the other chiefs in a collective setting once this ordeal is over here in the United States. The plan hasn't changed. The drive is still the same. And it is because of people like Chief Resiposa coming to the table in representation of all the other chiefs, then again magnifies the power that we have as a people. Once we get over the fear, there is no fear in what he said. There is determination. And as I've said before, once the fuse is lit, there's no way to stop it. I salute the chief, because the chief has said that which the Creator has put into his mouth. The land to begin to build our own nation is coming together. Thank you, Chief.
Chief Resiposa, we're definitely going to call you off air to have more discussion about this, and obviously we're going to make sure we're going to connect with our special guest, Grandmaster Jay. Thank you for your call, Chief Resiposa in South Africa. I know you're in Limpopo right now. Thanks so much for your call. So, brothers and sisters, it's a revolution that's happening in Africa. So I want you to pay attention to this. So, Grandmaster Jay, real quick, let us talk about the land itself, the power of land. One thing I've noticed of the United States, I know people are calling, but nobody will call now. I can't. Let us just have this quick word with Grandmaster Jay real quick. Help us to understand the power of land, because it seems like the United States government leave that relationship with the African people. Is like, I hate you, but I can't live without you. I hate you, but I can't live without you. So help us to understand the power of us having control of our land, real quick.
A people cannot call themselves a people if they don't have a home, a place of origin, a place to preserve their culture, a place to tell their story, a place to determine their destiny. How does that happen? It can't happen in someone else's house. You have to have land. What has every war been about? Land. What has every great conquest been about? Land. When they invaded the North American continent to build the United States, they built it on what? Other people's land. And even in Africa, in the motherland, they have taken our land, because land is power. As long as you have land, you have a place where you can regroup. You have a place where you can build. You have a place where you make the rules. So it is very imperative that we have control of our own land. Otherwise, we can never build our own countries. Point blank.
Brothers and sisters, real quick. We have another call as well. This is also a very important call. Right from the land of Marcus Garvey, Jamaica. Real quick, tell us your name and what you want to say to Grandmaster Jay real quick. The floor is yours.
Also known called Paulus. I'm calling from here in Jamaica, right out of Trenchtown, and we're here concerning the full liberation of our people Only we can do what needs to be done. And I would like to commend Grandmaster Jay for his work that I've seen by securing, but remember, so long as you're part of their system, right, they will always have the security to come against you. This is a time when the great elders told us that you have to be a nation within a nation, a government within a government. And we've seen it over the years, exemplified by the Rastafarian nation that declared their Ethiopian Afrocentric legacies, gave up their names of Babylon, took back their own names, and created a nation within a nation. What was missing is the government that is within the government. And that is why the Ethiopian World Federation was so significant, because it gave all the black people that was enslaved to regain their sovereign identity, not according to the ways and fashion of the European enslaver, but according to our ancestral, the great kingdoms of Africa that created the great civilization from Upper Kemet down to the Lower Kemet, right through to the west coast, to the Ivory Coast of the Dahomey Kingdom, the great rulers of Africa that has been in absence up until now. That is why Africa has been so divided, because those who rule it is those that the enslaver put in position, while they remove the true rulers of Africa, who they castrated, who they destroyed. They tried to destroy our kingdom, but what they don't realize, it's in our blood, Alpha Combo. So wherever we are, wherever we be scattered, the true rulers of Africa knows who they are, and the people of Africa knows them, my brother, because it goes back from time of integrity, time of beginning of all civilization, and it is still within the blood of the African.
So 30-second last message to Grandmaster Jay, real quick, before we let you go.
It's a nation within a nation, Grandmaster Jay. It's a government within a government. That is why we have to.
Anyway, I think we heard enough. Bring back my camera, because you know at times the line in Jamaica is not really that great, but we're definitely gonna have the brother again. Grandmaster Jay, what about, so do you still have an idea acting? I know one of your plans is to act as government within a government in the United States. Do you reckon it's really possible to have a government inside the United States land? Oh, definitely it's not possible.
First, let's be clear. I never said we were going to have a government within the United States. I don't know who said that. I've never said that. I said that we need to begin to form the infrastructure of an ethno nation outside of the United States. I told you all this before. I am not anti-U.S. government. I don't want to overthrow the government. And because we know they're not going to carve us out a piece of land that we can govern ourselves, I've said this many times, that the formation of any type of structure for a government would have its home somewhere else. That's the whole idea. The United States would never allow another government to coexist that it did not control. There's no group that exists in the United States, in spite of what they may think, that is a totally autonomous government that functions completely at will. You see, freedom is the ability to do what you want, when you want to do it, without answering to anybody and everybody in the United States, no matter what configuration they're in, answers to the U.S. government, because you're in their house. Even if you built the house, it's still their house. You don't own it, so you don't have no say-so. So there would be no government in the United States. What there would be, and this is exactly what we were starting to get into when they decided to come arrest me and pull the plug on everything, was we were starting to talk about the mechanism that we need to put into place to determine where we need to focus our energies as a people. When I say as a people, I'm not just talking about the United States. We need to focus as a people globally. You see, I'm aware that there are efforts all around the world, especially in Jamaica, where the brother was just talking. China's efforts in the region are part of this global strategy to forge deep economic ties and strong diplomatic relationships around the world. By building roads and infrastructure and projects, offering you money. That's what they've done in Jamaica. But once they get in there, they start standing up things like their own cultural centers and places where they can start to change the narrative. And most people don't realize that the same government that let them in is being controlled. So when I hear about people internal to that nation that are not a part of that want to do their own thing, you only have one or two choices. A, overthrow the current government, or B, build your own somewhere else. So with regards to for instance, the United Black Kemetic Nation, people always talk about, okay, I'm part of that. Yes, you are. But the governmental structure has not even been put together yet because we don't have a landing zone yet. There has to be a landing zone. I explained this before. First, you got to figure out where you're going to build the house. Number two, you have to figure out how you're going to protect the house. That's NFAC. Number three, you got to figure out who's going to put the wood and the pipes and the electricity in the house. That becomes about people that got to build out this infrastructure. Then we got to figure out how we're going to pay for the house. What money are we going to use? So we're not going to use dollars. Maybe we'll use the Lumi. Y'all don't know what that is? You need to research it. Or then we got to figure out how we going to eat in the house, where the food going to come from in the house. You see, we got work to do in the house while we're protecting the house on our own land. Those parts haven't happened yet. So how can you talk about a government when there's nothing to govern? I hope I answered your question.
Wow. Brothers and sisters, as you can see, give me my camera. We now see brothers calling from all over the world. We will open up the line, but we only ask for maximum 30 seconds or a minute to say something to Grandmaster Jay. That'll be our opportunity, because if I open up the line, we're going to go until tomorrow. And this is specifically to hear about Grandmaster Jay and what his current situation, because from time to time he's definitely going to be out here passing to the village to update the family what's going on. But right now, what I need you to do, go to this GoFundMe page. Thanks for Sister Eleanor Harvey. Go for this GoFundMe page. Do the donation. Don't ask any question, just do it, and then mobilizing your people. I know brothers in Holland as they're moving in. I know brothers in London are moving in. So I need you to, one more time. This is the flyer that you can see right here. The Grandmaster Jay Legal Defense Fund. All I need you to do, just go out there and make your contribution. So wherever you can just do it. So that's the main focus that we also here today, is to see who's really down for the revolution. Because at times it's all great to share videos, putting likes, putting comments, but this is not what it's all about. It's about really put your money where your mouth is. So Grandmaster Jay, before we open up the line, so I think we're going to be having 10-15 more minutes for the line. So now that we're in this situation, we're in this pandemic, it's more than ever that we have to really unite globally, because I've seen brothers and sisters wanting to get into the NFAC. Is there any space for, are you planning to build the chapters all over the world? Because we know brothers in London are moving in, brothers in Amsterdam, Holland moving in, brothers in France moving in, brothers in Africa express their interest. Help us to understand, as NFAC is about to really, I know it's took over the world already, but in terms of now having a structure building into towns and countries and villages, help us to understand the current situation of moving NFAC globally as an organization.
NFAC UK, the response has been incredible. All of those countries in the UK, and I'm not going to list them, now have a presence. To my brothers and sisters in Angola, Nigeria, Namibia, Ghana, we have a presence. To the brothers in Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, French Guiana, we have a presence. People all over the world who are interested in becoming an affiliate or part of the coalition, that process is something that they can actually reach out to you, because you've gone through it, and let them know. I won't publicize it here because the enemy is watching. But yes, there should be NFAC everywhere that there are brown people on earth to respond to whatever your particular situation is in your country. Everybody has a different set of circumstances, but when you peel back the layers, the enemy is all the same. And let me help those out who tend to think that, oh, he's a black supremacist. First of all, I've never declared us being black supreme or anything. I've never talked about supremacy. I've talked about equality. I've talked about us being treated as equal human beings. I've talked about us asking that we get a fair shake like everyone else. I've talked about us having a seat at the table like everyone else, and us no longer asking for it, demanding it. And if you don't give us a seat at the table, we'll build our own table and our own chairs. That is a global effort. So if you are inclined and you are interested in the liberation of us as a people, it doesn't mean that you're racist. You're not a supremacist for loving on your own people when everyone has been racist towards you, when everyone else has taught you that they're supreme and you're inferior. Isn't it strange that when the rabbit gets the gun, they don't even want him to come in from the sun? They don't want the rabbit to sit in the classroom. They don't want the rabbit to know the truth. They don't want the rabbit to own no land, and they damn sure don't want the rabbit to think for themselves. Well, that's all you can do at this particular instance, because the NFAC is just one piece of our liberation. And the harder that we try to come together, the harder we're going to find out that our enemies look just like us.
Wow. So now the line is open. So I want only.
And before you begin, I only have 12 minutes.
Right.
So this is going to have to go pretty fast. If they have a question, that's fine.
So
we only have 12 minutes.
Absolutely. Brothers and sisters, only 30 seconds to say something real quick to Grandmaster Jay. So we got a first caller. Tell us where you calling from, real quick.
I'm calling from Scotland, from Glasgow, Scotland. I'm from the United Kingdom of Congo.
Right. So what is your question to Grandmaster Jay and or your message, real quick?
Yeah, my message is to thanks Grandmaster Jay for what he's doing, and to let us know that he's not alone, that we support him, we love him, and if he's gonna go down, we go down with him. If he's gonna go up, we go up with him. So my question is already answered. I see the organization all around, and I will ask to know what more can we do to help him to achieve what he's doing, to what he's achieving, what he's working for. That's my question. How can you achieve? How can you contribute? He can give us more advice, more way to do, to achieve, or to contact him, or to do whatever we can do.
So thank you so much for your call, Grandmaster Jay. The floor is yours.
Let me respond directly to him. First of all, I would like to thank Queen Biambi in the People's Republic of the Congo, who has already expressed support and has already spoken out for the People's Republic of the Congo to support the NFAC and myself. I love that brother for what he said. I envision a day that I will set foot back in the motherland, and that everybody who's in the motherland under the sound of my voice will be there to welcome me, so we can have these conversations beyond this electronic means, so we can start to move forward. He said, I already answered this question. Let me give him one more answer. You are not forgotten. We are one collective family. And we may not be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect in this family. But we are family. One last thing, my brother. Don't let people who are looking at the pieces of what we used to be get lost in the fact that what they're staring at is the pieces of a cocoon before the butterfly emerged. We as a people need to stop letting people point at, well, y'all did this and y'all sold your own people into slavery, and y'all stop pointing at what we used to be and look at the butterfly that has emerged, because that's what you have to deal with. So I send much love to all of the peoples of the Republic of the Congo, and I salute the brother on the call. You are definitely in the plan, and I really look forward to having this conversation with all of my people face to face.
Wow. Moving real quick, we got another caller. Tell us where you're calling from real quick, and your name and a message or anything you want to say to Grandmaster Jay real quick. You got the floor.
This is Ambassador Michael Paul Brown, otherwise known as Ucha Negotep L. Ambassador to the Maroons of Jamaica and also to the African Kingdom Federation. I would like to have a private discussion with Grandmaster Jay, and I would like to have a private. I am the family of Marcus Garvey, Nanny of the Maroon, and different ancestral lineage. I've been trying to reach out to you, my brother. I'm also assisting with the Lumi and other things that has to do with the diaspora of Africa. And we have met on several platforms before. You know of me also, in terms of you see certain things. So I am a student of Dr. Malachi Z. York and Dr. Sabi. So I'd love to speak to you, my brother. Kwafa has my number and my information in the inbox of his WhatsApp. Could you please contact me ASAP, private and confidential?
Thank you, Ambassador, and I agree with that. The host of this show can arrange those conversations. Again, I also salute Queen Nani of the Maroons from a historical perspective, and those folks that are carrying that torch today. A private conversation is what you request. A private conversation you shall have.
Wow. So brothers and sisters, we got another call as well. Right from make sure it's okay. So we got another call as well. There we go. So we got the call right there. So where you calling from real quick? So I need you to turn your device down. So where are you calling from? Any message you want to say to Grandmaster Jay real quick?
From Holland.
So you calling from Holland? Where exactly in Holland?
I'm calling from Den Haag, The Hague, right now.
The Hague. What is your message to Grandmaster Jay?
Yeah, The Hague.
Real quick.
My message is salute him and que Dios le bendiga. I want to praise him and thank him, and I'm prepared. Soldiers don't ask questions, they follow orders. That's my message.
Wow. So you got the message. I think I know the brothers calling. So I think you already said everything. You don't ask questions, you follow the order. So all I can say is my brothers in Amsterdam, Holland, they're ready. So Grandmaster Jay, any quick words for the caller real quick?
Absolutely. The pipeline is open the same way it was open for the UK. It is open also for those folks in those other countries in the Northeast, those folks that are moving down toward the southern France corridor. Of course, I'd have to coordinate with Keddy Sila to make sure I don't step on any toes. But we need to have you at the table. Also, my brother, you can coordinate with the host of this show, and they can actually get you pipelined over to us. And I welcome you, and I love you, my brother.
We got another caller real quick. Tell us where you're calling from, and just be quickly. Where you calling from on message for Grandmaster Jay?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
I'm calling from London, Ontario, but I'm from the small island of St. Kitts back in the Caribbean. I just wanted to I saw him on YouTube going out in the streets with the guns and everything. I said finally. And right now I don't have any questions or anything. I just want to tell him keep his energy up. And I'm the one who always reaching out to him on Instagram telling him energy. And just keep your energy up because we're here and we ain't going nowhere this time. This time, we won't fail. This time, we won't fail.
Wow, thank you, my brother. Thank you for your call. Grandmaster Jay, a quick response.
The brother has already said what I cannot say. He said that he would be there, which is all I ask. And in return, he should understand that if I'm at the house, as long as y'all at the house, I'm gonna stay at the party as long as y'all stay at the party. If he there, I'm there too. I need all hands on deck for this one. This is not about me. This is sending a message to all of you worldwide. So we got to make sure we stay united to send the message back. I love that brother. Not because I know him, but because he's of my blood lineage and he's one of my kind. That's the kind of love we got to have.
So we got another caller real quick. Where are you calling from? Real quick. Where are you calling from? So we got another call. Hold on a second. Where are you calling from real quick?
My name is Biko and I'm calling from Glasgow.
Say it again one more time.
Yeah, my name is Biko and I'm calling from Glasgow.
Oh, you're calling from Glasgow. So what is your question to Grandmaster Jay? Right in Glasgow, Scotland.
Yes, so I wanted to say, what is the place of women, first of all, within the movement, and what can women do, not only as active participants, but also as preparing our sons that will come in to join the movement as well. And equally, I also wanted to tell the women, don't forget that you have the power of making the economy strong in the house. So reach in your pockets and do support the movement that support you. Don't support those that come and take away your sons. Support those that come and protect your sons. Thank you.
Wow. Right from Scotland. Thank you so much, Queen. I know this queen. She's from the Zulu tribe. Currently, she's based in Scotland. So, Grandmaster Jay, what's the place of our sisters, women, queens in the movement?
Have been attacked as a people. We have been reduced to second-class citizenship as a people. We have had to struggle for the basics to be treated as an equal human being as a people. And we have seen our women pushed into positions that they were never intended to be by the Creator pushed into, that they've done a magnificent job of having to pick up and carry the torch, while our black men have been jailed, killed, or prevented from achieving to the point where they can even support their own people. There is a space, an equal space, as it has already been demonstrated within the NFAC, within the liberation movement. No one is relegated to a second-class citizen or second-class status, as far as I'm concerned. Sisters were created to be our help meet, not our help mate. There's a difference. We meet in the middle. We meet on things. We corroborate and we collaborate together to have a collective answer. There are plenty sisters in the NFAC as I speak that stand the post with me. And as we go forward in the process globally, that should be the standard. If it conflicts with your culture, examine your culture and see if it's truly your culture or another one that was passed on to you in the brainwashing that has happened. There is room for sisters all day, every day.
Another sister's calling. Tell us where you're calling from and what is your message for Grandmaster Jay real quick?
I'm calling from France. My message for Grandmaster Jay.
Hold on. I need you to speak loud and clear. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from France.
Okay, France. I got it. France. What is your message for Grandmaster Jay?
Yeah, my message for Grandmaster Jay. I tried there's a while to reach him to talk about something about UBK, and I want to know what about. I want him to speak about the UBK project. It's my question.
UBK project. I don't know. Grandmaster Jay, are you aware of UBK project?
I understand what she's asking. What she's asking is the status of the UBKN. It's not so much a project, and it is the ongoing initiative that is actually driving the NFAC. The United Black Kinetic Nation is the global diaspora of those of us who would land in an ethno-nation. one of the things that I've talked about, and this will probably be my last answer because we're out of time, but I want to answer this sister because I love all of my brothers and sisters, especially my sisters in France, is that where we are and what we're doing in the formation of our own nation, wherever that's going to land, and let me clear up something. There's a lot of folks out here who always want to compare what we decide to do against what our oppressors have done. Just because some crazy white man took a bunch of people down in the jungle and killed them, don't start to attribute that to your own brothers and sisters that's trying to liberate you from the oppression that you've been under at the hands of your own government and by the people who colonized you. The good brothers and sisters of the country of France are part of the UBKN by blood alone. And those who align with the movement will also be open and will be welcome in the presence of the UBKN, whether it be within the motherland or whether it be scattered around the globe.
Wow. So before we do the last, obviously the last challenge of our guests, because remember when he passed by to the village, we always throw a name at him just so we can quickly answer for you. Strong. You know, maybe today he's going to elaborate a little bit more, but it's specifically just questions and a quick answer. So, but before, obviously, we had so many brothers from the United States flooded us with the call. Brothers in France call, Africa call, Jamaica call, UK call. We can't finish this call without having any brothers from the United States. Tell them who we calling real quick and where exactly you calling from?
I'm calling from the U.S.
Where exactly in U.S.?
Virginia.
Virginia. So what is your question to Grandmaster Jay real quick? You literally got 20 seconds to say something.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say thank him for everything that he's doing, and he needs to keep staying strong and don't let nobody, say anything to make him feel any kind of way. And second, I want to know, apart from the GoFundMe fund, what else can we do to support him for him going to court this time, apart from the GoFundMe? What can we do?
Okay. He's gonna answer real quick, but have you? Hold on. Let me put you on the. Have you done your donation, brother?
Yes, and I'm going to do some more.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm talking about. For all your sisters that call, I need you to hit me up. I need to see if you really gave your donation, because we, our listeners, they're friendly. Once you call, we lock you into the village. So, Grandmaster,
I already did more than 3 times. I'm going 4 times now.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Grandmaster, you got the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to try to wrap this up, make it quick first. Of course, the GoFundMe is probably the best way to support it so we can get the legal piece done. But the other thing that everyone, especially the people in the United States, can do is to bombard the Department of Justice with letters pointing out the hypocrisy of what is happening with my case. When you look at everything that's happened in the United States since January the 6th, the insurrection, and then the acquittal of the person that incited it, yet they still, understand, let me clear some things up, they still won't drop these charges. I haven't been indicted yet, but they still won't drop these charges. I've only been accused. So I need the people in America to put some pressure on the Department of Justice, and they be wondering, the same way y'all put the pressure on these people when they locked me up, they got so many phone calls, they were like, we don't realize what we've done. You need to be calling your local senators and congressmen. You need to be calling the Department of Justice. Then you need to be calling down to the state of Kentucky and blowing up the governor's phone and blowing up the attorney general's phone. He probably won't listen, but you all need to do a letter writing campaign. You all need to then make them aware that we're aware globally that this is an injustice. This is not just about a court case. Oh, he's just he's a criminal. I'm no criminal. I'm a former presidential candidate who actually went out and tried to do something per the Constitution, and they just had to find something to shut us up and to shut us down. You all have got to start applying pressure. Just because I'm not in the ground pushing up daisies doesn't mean that the cause is any less significant. People say, I want to give you your roses while you're alive. You want to give me some roses? Contact the Department of Justice and tell the U.S. Attorney that this is BS. Reach down to the state of Kentucky and let them know this is BS. Support the GoFundMe, because they're going to try to drag this out and try to break me and anyone that's involved in this. They don't think black people can get together globally. It's amazing to me that a new movie can come out or a new pair of shoes and y'all got money on tap. But if they ask for just $1 from each one of you all, that would actually finance us right out of this. But you all will pay $20, $30, $50, $60, $100 for a concert, some hair, some eyelashes, to whiten your skin, to take a trip, or to do something that has nothing to do with moving you forward to being free. What can you do? I really shouldn't have to tell people what they can do. You do for me what you do for everybody else when they get shot by the police and the police like, you do for me the same thing you do for somebody else when you want somebody to pray for this person and pray for that person. You get out in the streets and you march. You get out in the streets and you let them know I'm standing up because I stand for the cause. It's not about the man, it's about the movement.
So, brothers and sisters, before I let the Grandmaster Jay go, we're going to throw the question, but I'm challenging all of you. Respectfully, we challenge all of you. Give your donation and apply pressure in embassies. United States got an embassy in London, got an embassy in Paris, got an embassy in Lisbon, got an embassy in Brussels, got an embassy all over Africa. For my folks out there, put pressure on them. That's what it is. Because at the end of the day, whether you agree or disagree with them, let us look at the bigger picture. If they're doing this to him, they can do this to all of us. So that is why we gotta put our boots on the ground and show it up. That's what it is. We black power. And don't be afraid to say it. Even if you're light skin or white skin or no, light skin, because you're a part of the family too. Say it. We're standing with black power. So before I let you go, Grandmaster Jay, let us go throw the questions at you real quick. So remember, because we can't leave without our ancestors telling us to leave. That is why we ask the question to Grandmaster Jay or to our special guest to give the energy to you. So we're gonna start off just with the queens, because this challenge is to ask the question and direct answer to you out there. So we're gonna start first with the queens. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start off with. Let me make sure we got the picture right, because out here we give it to you audibly and visually. So we're starting off Coletta Scott King.
You know, I normally give you one word, but I'm not. This King got a front row seat to the elevation, coronation, and assassination of her other half. And then, as America likes to do, they like to parade the widow around to make us all feel sad. And then they act like they lifted up the very person that they killed. Her resolution at holding it together all those years and not just flipping out on everybody is something that I would always have to salute her for, her resiliency.
Wow. So we got this queen right here. So Betty X, better known as Betty Shabazz.
Again, another sister that was sent down that exact same road that they sent Miss King down. The only heartburn about this one was that the turmoil that consumed her other half came from within our own people. Her resolution, her resilience, I have to salute again.
And we got this one, Harriet Tubman.
You know, they want you to believe that Harriet Tubman just helped people get away from slavery. Harriet was much more than that. Harriet was one of our first militants, carried a gun, was about her business. She was about liberating her people by any means necessary way before Mr. Malcolm came on scene. And she did. And I would have to say to her, warrior, sister warrior.
I'm talking about the Maroons. We got Queen Nanny. What is your take about Queen Nanny?
Queen Nanny, when you stop and you look back at the history of the Maroons and what the Queen represented and what was taken away and what she fought to hold on to in the back and forth, once again demonstrates the power, the powerful strength and the silence of that power. But the power nonetheless is built into our sisters. And she is held up as a foundation She is a foundational building block within the history of the Maroon.
And we got right to the continent, Queen Mother Winnie Mandela.
You know, when I talk about her husband earlier, a lot of people really don't realize what all she had to go through and what she had to deal with after the fact, and how she headed up and what she did after he was released. So I would have to say she is the personification of the help meet that I talked about.
And obviously, we have to talk about Nelson Mandela, because he made some white folks look pretty good. It was too peaceful. What is your take about it?
I believe that Brother Mandela found out something just like I found out. That we can have all the fire and fury in the world, but if we truly want our people to survive, it's a process, not simply one battle. And after everything they did to this man, for him to even come back to still want to take that walk, I'd have to salute him 1,000 times, because I know many people wouldn't even attempt to do that, or would have second thoughts. And I believe that he was that determined to see it until the end, and he did.
Real quick, we got three more ancestors. Kunzinga from the Kingdom of Congo, from Angola.
I would never ever forget that this is the woman that when the white man came to try to subjugate her in her own land and have her sit on the floor, and they brought chairs for themselves, that she came in like, we're not equal, we're nothing. And oh, you didn't bring a chair? That's cute. I got people who follow me that will be my chair. And they're not low-life people, they're not slaves, they're just people who are dedicated to me. She fought to keep them out. And to this day, I wish that she had. She was the first one to answer the door and try to keep them out. Wow. They just wasn't too many after her.
And we go to stay still in the kingdom, Patrice Lumumba.
What they did to this gentleman is exemplary of what they do to all of us that ascend to any level of power to manage our own independent government. I salute him for his resilience. Again, these are all people who stood for us and us only. And of course, found out that our enemy doesn't change its playbook. He's a stalwart and another of the foundations.
And obviously, we can't leave to mention his name, Malcolm X.
Visionary, ahead of his time, a man with a heart. And I hate to say this, but we find out that those of us who have big hearts, like I do, we tend to get them broken by our own kind, time and time again. But Malcolm spoke prophecy. Malcolm was called, not Malcolm Little. Remember, those are the broken pieces of what he used to be. That was his cocoon. That was his pressure cooker. It's what came out of the other side, the butterfly, that we should all lift up.
And Martin Luther King.
You know, if you buy into the image of Martin Luther King that's fed to you by the people that killed him, then you would probably think, oh, the most peaceful man on earth. No, he was not. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was someone who was indoctrinated into the civilization, the Christians, the whole 9 yards. He preached, he was ordained. But then he woke up. He believed, like I believed, because I too was ordained and I was a preacher, that what was ingrained in our heads could actually exist in the real world. But every time we tried to apply it, it blew up in our faces. That's why we wake up. He woke up, and it's when he woke up that they figured that the best thing to do was to bid him a good night, lift up his name, and make the black people not realize that we took away from you your first black president, if he had lived.
And Marcus Garvey from the land of Jamaica.
The great Marcus Garvey was the first person to have the right idea. This is not our home. We're not immigrants. We're the descendants of people who were kidnapped and stolen. So stop lumping us in with all of the programs and the courtesies that you extend to immigrants. We're the only race that can say we didn't immigrate anywhere. Not just in the United States, but around the world. For the most part, we've been transplanted. That's why we're in places where people are like, well, that's not even part of your genetic makeup. Marcus was right on time. When slavery ended and all that craziness happened, it's time for us to pack up and leave. And if they don't want to take us home, we'll take ourselves home. But as we all know, we saw how that worked out because we let the wrong people come to the cookout.
So, brothers and sisters from all over the world, wrapped up. So we're going to have Grandmaster Jay to address 1 minute message to the entire family worldwide that's been listening to this show. Jamaica, the 50 states in Africa. So I know you're locked in on this one. Brothers in the United States, brothers in Europe. Because remember, we're doing this globally. We're not doing this locally. And with you, without you, we're doing it. That's what it is. So I wanted to have the floor to Grandmaster Jay to just landing in any message to the family worldwide. Because remember, we're snake walking. We're lion walking to your city. Spiritually and physically. We're panther walking in your city too. We're panther walking. We're elephant walking. That's what we do. We walk spiritually and physically. So to you, family worldwide, we're gonna close with the video of the Grandmaster Jay and the NFSC walking in the streets of Louisville. Just so if you missed it, you're gonna see again. So walking through the valley of shadow of death, you don't fear no evil. So Grandmaster Jay, the floor is yours, and it's such a pleasure to have you again. And we're definitely gonna have you from time to time to really address important issue. We still have Africa to talk about. There's a lot of things going on in Africa that I want you to address. Just actually at 30 seconds, what is your thought about the situation that is happening in Angola? The government's killing the people. That is happening in Uganda. The government is still staying power. Just a quick message to the African people, first of all, of the current situation that's going on out there.
To all of the melanated people around the world, hear me. We are at war. A state of war exists. A psychological war exists. Monetarily war exists. A bloody war exists. And if you don't believe it, just because you don't see bombs and guns, doesn't mean that you're not at war. We're being attacked everywhere. When you use the term governments attacking the people, that makes no sense to me. Because the people are the government. However, a controlling group that is setting groups against each other because of tribal and ethnic lines that were destroyed by the French in Africa, destroying lines that were respected. And now the government sitting in the middle like a puppet master, as if it's doing law and order. If the government doesn't represent the will of the people, then it is not a government. The trouble in Angola, the trouble in Ethiopia, and a few other places are based on tribal and ethnic differences. Some of them stirred up by the same people that have invaded us, occupied us, mated with us, and now want to act like they're equal and identical to you. My first message is lose this sense of fear that you have. Stop making up stuff that's already true. You're going to get us all killed. They're already killing you. You're going to get us all put on the list. You're already on the list. They're going to take everything from us. They've already taken everything from you. In the average neighborhood in America, black people don't own the businesses in their neighborhood. They've already reduced you and frozen you. You don't own anything. So what are you afraid of losing? Around the world, it's the same thing. I've seen the videos of the young kids in Africa picking up weapons for the first time because they realize they can defend themselves. I've seen the videos of the young men in Nigeria chasing the army out because they realize they can stand up for themselves. We are being bullied worldwide by a group that has learned to unite. If you all can't unite behind this, then I don't know what you're waiting on. There are no perfect people coming. There are none. I checked. And the clock is ticking down. So no matter where you are under the sound of my voice, no matter what continent you sit on, I hope to see you all one day. But that day is not going to happen if we don't get ourselves together today. And that means support financially. Stop listening to people who are afraid. And when I say afraid, I mean fear manifests itself in all kinds of ways. There are people who are afraid of the truth. There are people who are afraid of the teachings. There are people who are afraid of actually getting their hands dirty. There are people who are afraid because they don't know how to make money no other way except off the backs of their own people. Don't listen to that. Listen to what's being said to you in your spirit. Your ancestors are crying out from the ground right now. They're crying out from the grounds all over the world. Their blood is crying out. Wondering why you standing around being afraid. You are a member of the United Black Kemetic Nation globally. You are members of the diaspora globally. And all of our blood traces back to the same place globally. Y'all don't want to listen to each other? Then stop listening to all the people who don't look like you, because that's what you're doing. My message is, stop falling for the distractions. Let's start loving on each other better than we have before. And stop waiting for the brothers and sisters in the United States to lead the way. They can't get themselves together in a lot of situations because they're under attack too. We are stronger than we've ever been. We just need to realize that and walk in that purpose. I bid you all peace. I bid you all love. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. And blessings. I didn't ask for this responsibility. I was called by the Most High. And when I return to Him, my report will reflect that. They're going to try to imprison me this Friday. You should be at every embassy. You should be online. The same way you like to gossip. You should be talking about this. The media is not. Doesn't that seem strange to you? You're all talking about a movie. You're going to be entertained. Even when they're entertaining you about how they destroyed you from the angle that your people did. Stop being a puppet for the puppet master and let's walk in the true purpose of the master that created us. Uhuru.
Wow. Brothers and sisters, that's a wrap. So what I need you to do now, you heard what Grandmaster Jay said, the Supreme Commander of the NFAC, better known as Not Fucking Around Coalition. You heard what it is. So do your part, brother. Be an apologetic African or black. Just be an apologetic. Don't be out here for the rainbows, for all the brothers. No. First of all, be black. Because at times people walk down and say, oh, you're black is a color. We're not talking about color. We're talking about state of mindset. That's what we're talking about here. Alpha Quadro. I'm finished off with this image you're about to see. Again, I'm saying, lion walking in the streets of Louisville, Kentucky. You will see panther walking. You will see giraffe walking. You will see elephant walking, snake walking, bird walking. You see all kind of rebels walking, and to send a message to the world: enough is enough. Protect yourself. Harm yourself. Self-policing ourselves. That's what it's about. Alpha Quadro, we're signing out in peace, love, and harmony. And remember, when we have the enemies within, when you don't have the enemies within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Let me repeat again. When we kill the enemy within, we kill them with him. The enemy outside can never cause us any harm. That is why we got to understand this show today. Keep following the message. Shout out to my family on Facebook, YouTube. The link is going to be about to go on YouTube, even though people already posting. They make money out of our content, but we don't care. We care about the message. So shout out to all of our brothers and sisters worldwide that have been promoting this message. In case Lover Army. My name is...
And they have a major national treaty with 80 countries to back it up legally. The treaty is called the Declaration of the Global African Diaspora Summit, and it gives African Americans regional government powers as Region 6 of the African Union. This region contains 350 million people in 90 different countries, and African Americans are identified as the strongest in the entire region. African Americans are officially a new world power government on the same level as all other world governments, just not as organized yet. Regardless, this regional government title means martial law, forced vaccinations, and other executive orders from the U.S. government will not apply to black people in America. It also means law enforcement officers are no longer authorized to police black people. The mass media hid this major treaty away from African Americans for almost a decade because they didn't want them to find out how much economic power they now have as a new regional government of Africa. But the secret is out, and this new strategy for justice is called Diplomat Day. Diplomat Day provides coordinated execution between high levels and ground levels to eventually eradicate racism. The ground level is simple for the masses. Just publicly display the African Union flag in large or creative coordinated efforts. African Americans publicly displaying their flag in large numbers has legal benefits now because it is a lawful statement of regional jurisdiction, and that's what Diplomat Days are about. Diplomat Days begin at a rally point with music, food, and guest speakers to commemorate the new regional government status of African Americans from the African Union. Everyone brings African Union flags to the rally. Those of voting age votes to declare state of emergency due to racism and dehumanization in America. At the end of the rally, everyone leaves together to cruise the city with their flags displayed on their cars or with a passenger displaying a flag out from the car windows in a large group until they stop at a government building for a huge photo shoot with their flags. This sends a clear message to the United States that the African Union's regional government in America is an active and visible neighbor, which promotes respect for their jurisdictional distinction, equality, and relations. Visit diplomatday.com for more information or to organize.